Mr. Ossowski, you were the president of the Canada Border Service Agency, is that correct? And how are you employed now?
I work with PricewaterhouseCoopers.
And what's your position with PricewaterhouseCoopers?
My classification is a managing director, but I'm a senior strategic advisor.
And as a senior strategic advisor, are you aware of how much business your firm does with the Government of Canada?
Yes.
And how much business is that?
I don't have those numbers with me today.
Okay. Would you care to offer an estimation of how much business it is?
That's corporate information that I'm not privy to share.
You're not privy to share?
Well, I'm privy to, but I'm not in a position to share. That's something for the firm to respond to that question.
So the value of contracts between your firm and the Government of Canada is not something that you're prepared to share with us?
That's not my information to share. That's
okay.
the firm's
so,
information.
So I think it's germane, but we're going to circle back to it. We know that PricewaterhouseCoopers does significant business with the Government of Canada and formerly did business with the agency that you were the head of, the CBSA. You talked about taking a casual employment with the CBSA so that you could access information while you were concurrently working in a senior strategic advisory role for PricewaterhouseCoopers, a firm that does significant business with the Government of Canada, an amount so great and so sensitive you're not even prepared to disclose it to the committee today. Did you have any restraints put on you on the information that you were able to access when you were employed by the current president of the CBSA in preparation for your testimony before a parliamentary committee?
The letter of offer that was offered to me and I signed had conflict of interest provisions in it. I have access to my email on my calendar and other documents associated with events in the emails in the calendar.
So to be clear, the events,
if I may finish,
the events
and I recused myself from all work with CBSA while at public work, PwC.
Yeah, we've seen the record of the CBSA under your leadership on conflicts of interest. We heard testimony from CBSA officials about boozy dinners with contractors that were working for the CBSA. So you'll have to excuse me if I don't put great stock in the seriousness with which you viewed the conflict of interest requirements that you said you would follow. You said that you had access to any documents related to items in your calendar and email. Well, as the president of the CBSA, I'd imagine that would be pretty significant. And working for a firm that hired the former head of the CBSA, having previously done business with the CBSA, and doing excess of tens of millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in business with the Government of Canada, it seems that there would be a commercial advantage to having their senior advisor, an executive with this firm, to have access to all of their information from their calendar, emails, and associated documents when you were given that employment by Ms. O'Gorman. What date were you given access to the CBSA?
I don't recall the specific date. It was sometime in January initially to prepare for my January 18th, and then it was restarted again in February.
Can you please furnish this committee with the assigned offer of employment?
I believe that's in the possession of the agency. I don't have a copy of myself.
You don't have a copy of any of the employment documents, so you took a job with the CBSA and didn't keep a copy?
I'll look for it, but I think you're better off to get that from the agency. They would have a record of that.
Well, if you have it, I would be best to get it from you because we've asked for it from you.
I will look for it, and if I have it, I will certainly provide it.
Thank you. You still have 2 minutes. Pardon me, I was acknowledging the witness. You have 2 minutes.
Thanks very much. You were paid for your casual employment to access the documents in preparation for your testimony, that's correct?
I was asked to submit hours for my preparation, and I submitted 1 day.
And how much were you paid?
It was roughly $500.
So you were paid $500 to get access to internal files and documents, which I think I've already articulated is a highly questionable decision and certainly raises ethical questions when, based on your current employment and based on your employer's interest in the commercially sensitive information at the CBSA. Do you have a list of all of the documents, or are you still in possession of the documents that you retrieved in preparation for your committee appearance?
Mr. Chair, the one document that I was actually provided with, besides looking at my emails and calendars, was the ATIP that was provided to OGO, which is several hundred pages long, and I did not even look at it. I know that you asked Ms. O'Gorman for the forensics of what I've touched when I'm in there, and I'll leave it up to them to provide that information to you. I think you'll find it fairly underwhelming.
Well, I find it very interesting because the president of the CBSA said that you had access to any of the documents that you would have had access to as president of the CBSA.
While that may be the case, I did not access anything or take any advantage that would put me in any conflict of interest.
Yeah, I can't take it at face value, the seriousness with which you've approached the conflict of interest document that you signed, knowing the casual relationship with avoidance of a conflict of interest that your department had under your leadership. I mean, what better way for a big consulting firm to drum up new business with the CBSA when they've been cutting big checks with very little accountability than to have their former president, now employee, being able to get access to all of the documents that he had while working as the head of that
Mr.
agency.
Chair, I feel compelled to respond to this.
I'll allow it. Go ahead, yes.
Thank you. Given all that's gone on for this ArriveCAN discussion over the last couple of years, do you really believe that I would further put myself into jeopardy by pursuing something that had some conflict of interest?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll take that question as rhetorical. Thank you.